KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvil's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime. 2 lives claimed over the weekend. Families are in mourning as police continue to investigate how another tragedy claimed more lives on Guam's road. Plus, a man on trial for sexually molesting a young girl he knows for several years has his day in court. The alleged victim on the witness stand today telling her side of the story. And Guam's Attorney General is among the many who are over and done with the Guam Power Authority's load shedding. The lingering problem has him calling for the Consolidated Commission on Utilities to be abolished. Half day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thank you so much for starting your week here with us.
We begin with breaking news coming out of the Guam Police Department late today. A uniformed officer sworn to protect and serve finds himself on the other side of the law.
GPD officer Peter Leon Guerrero was taken into custody after being accused in an attack reported earlier this month at a beach in Tumon. He was off duty at the time. Leon Guerrero is being held at the Department of Corrections prison. He was arrested on suspicion of aggravated assault and disorderly conduct. Details of what motivated the alleged attack are still being investigated. KUAM confirms the alleged victim in the attack has since been treated and was able to give his statements to investigators. Police Chief Stephen Ignacio confirming that both internal and criminal investigations are ongoing.
I am aware of the incident that occurred while off duty at a local beach involving a police officer. There was a criminal investigation that was launched by the Guam Police Department's Criminal Investigation Section, and which today led to the arrest of the officer. And he's been placed on administrative leave. I know the criminal case will be forwarded to the AG's office, and the internal affairs case is still ongoing. It's just part of the process, of a criminal investigation when an arrest is made. We do hold our officers to a higher standard. And, unfortunately, when incidents like this do occur, of course, we have a duty and an obligation to hold these officers accountable and to conduct fair and impartial investigations, both administratively and criminally.
The chief confirms a second off-duty police officer was present at the time of the alleged attack. No word if that officer also faces charges in connection to the case. A family is mourning the loss of 2 people killed in a serious car crash over the weekend.
Loved ones putting together this makeshift memorial at the crash site. It happened early Saturday morning just off Route 1 Marine Corps Drive in East Agana. Police saying the driver of the car lost control when he ran off the road. The car wrapped around a coconut tree at the beachside.
The names of the man and woman killed in the crash and their ages not yet been released, but Highway Patrol investigators continue to look into the cause of the crash. Their deaths marking the 20th and 21st traffic-related fatalities in Guam this year. Our sincere condolences to the family for their loss. The alleged sexual abuse went on for years and started when she was only 8 years old. Now a grown woman, she is left having to tell her story as her accused molester is fighting the charges filed against him in local court.
The alleged victim taking the witness stand today. Julian Hernandez has her testimony from inside the courtroom.
A tough moment for a 21-year-old woman who had to recall the years of sexual abuse she was forced to endure by a man known to her, a man she thought that as a little girl she could trust.
It was shocking. I've never felt anything like that before.
Trial is underway for Tyson Benitez Usana before Judge Alberto Tolentino in Superior Court of Guam. Usana was arrested in June 2019 and stands accused of sexually abusing the victim for several years, starting when she was only 8 years old. Prosecuting attorney Christine Tenorio called the victim to the witness stand to share her side of the story today.
It was painful. Definitely had to look away. I think it was just shocking.
Okay. Now, when that act would occur, would you always be in the same position, like either laying down, sitting down? What position would it be?
Most often I was sitting down. Sometimes because I would wake up to it, I was laying down.
When you say you would wake up to it, where would you be sleeping? In which locations in your grandma's house would you be sleeping?
In my grandma's room.
Okay. Is that where you would normally take a nap?
Yes.
Okay.
The victim testifying before the jury that Usana would allegedly molest her when she would take naps at her relatives in Dedido. The abuse, she alleged, happened multiple times a week.
I definitely think I tensed up. I don't know, I kind of froze.
Did you ever try to like push him off or get his hand away?
Definitely, yes.
Every time?
Sometimes, I didn't feel like fighting.
Okay, can you explain that?
There were times where I would say no, and verbally, it wasn't enough. And I pushed him away, but I was fairly small.
Yeah. So whenever you would say no or push him away, how would he react to that?
He would keep going.
At one point, she alleged Usana molested her while her siblings were also in the same room.
He was always touching himself during every
sex act?
Every sex act.
So for the touching, the digital penetration, and the oral sex, he was always touching himself?
Yes.
The victim was about 16 around the time authorities made the arrest. However, she testified that opening up to her abuse wasn't easy, saying she got pushed back from relatives to keep it quiet.
Right after it happened, I had one of my aunties come and ask me to recant my statement, telling me they'll just get me a restraining order and they'll protect me if I just recant my statement so he doesn't go to jail. It's also the same with my grandma. She also asked me to recant my statement.
The situation, she claims, even tearing apart her relationship with her loved ones.
I mean, as a whole, I thought, the abuse was a lot. It made me an angry kid. I wasn't opening up to people. I would, just write things in my diary, and I think I was projecting. I had a lot of emotions built up that I wasn't putting anywhere else, and so little things would get to me. I was very irritable, very emotional, very protective over my siblings.
And then as far as your situation with your family?
After the fact, I thought the abuse was the worst of it, but I didn't know that it was going to get any worse after, seeing what happened to me. And it's just, I don't know, it's torn my family apart. I can't go to anyone for anything. I'm fearful for my well-being. I'm gonna end up homeless or something.
The victim has since relocated off island and returned only for the trial. Usana is charged with first, second, and fourth degree criminal sexual conduct. No word yet if he too will testify. Julian Hernandez, KUAM News.
He allegedly forced his way into a Chalampago home, threatening to kill a woman known to him.
But the victim was able to call 911 in time for the dispatcher to hear the alleged attack and send for help. 44-year-old Scott Chong is charged with burglary, assault against a police officer, and 3 times with family violence. Court documents stating his accuser told police Chong was not allowed at the residence. It was around midnight Saturday. Officers learned Chong allegedly forced his way into the home, pushing his way through an AC unit. When he attacked the victim, Chong allegedly held a knife at her neck, threatening to take her life. Officers showing up just in time as the pair was exiting the home, but prosecutors say that's when the woman tried to make her escape. Chong allegedly ran after her, held her down, ignoring officers' instructions to let her go before then attacking an officer.
Well, in other news, the Guam Power Authority says rolling power outages could continue for the next couple of days. Both the Cabra's 1 and 2 baseload generators are now down for emergency repairs, and the Jigo combustion turbine unit has been out since suffering damage by Typhoon Maui. The Cabra's 1 and 2 units are GPA's oldest baseload generators at nearly 50 years.
But they continue to be pressed into service until they can be replaced by the new Ukudu baseload generator. The Cabra units have both been down for repairs several times this year, and GPA has said the island-wide power system continues to be vulnerable. GPA is asking customers to conserve power from 5 in the evening to 10 p.m. to ease the peak demand. A load shedding schedule available on GPA's website. Meanwhile, in the midst of the latest rounds of load shedding, Attorney General Doug Moylan has penned an op-ed piece calling for the abolishment of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities.
Moylan contends the CCU has been largely ineffective and blames them for not addressing GPA's generation issues a lot sooner. Nestor Lecanto reports.
We're pointing out to the people from the Attorney General's perspective that there is a problem, that people that were tasked with the function aren't doing it, but more so that lingering question, why isn't the governor in charge? The Organic Act specifically says that the governor would have been in charge here, and when the legislature passed a law way back when, nobody ever challenged it. And I think the governors, since that time, have always complained that it shouldn't be these part-time board members that are being responsible for what we're now being injured from.
The Attorney General is weighing in because he believes it involves consumer protection.
The Attorney General is here to protect the public interest. One of the public interests is to stop the injury. A Consumer Protection Division is out there to try to help the consumers on this type of level. But the discussion needs to start, Nestor, like I said, with the legislature. The senators, their job is to protect us and to stop this third world type of environment we're living in.
But Utilities Chairman Will Parkinson did conduct an oversight hearing on GPA's storm response and capacity issues. GPA has consistently said that once the 198 megawatt Ukudu power plant is completed, it will more than accommodate the growing demand. But the project has suffered various delays, and GPA admits the system remains vulnerable until the massive Dededo plant goes online.
That's why I don't believe that the CCU has any plausible excuse to deal with the situation. This had happened 30 years ago. They should have been planning. If they're saying that, it didn't go as fast as they had expected, well, that doesn't answer the question. Why didn't you plan earlier?
And that's not all Moylan is critical of. He also disagrees with GPA and the CCU's goal to shift to renewable energy.
And this whole solar power nonsense that they're talking about, it's done nothing to keep our lights on. It's a waste of resources for a small island community. Focus upon what has always worked for Guam, and that is the base load generators.
CCU representatives declined comment. They're expected to get a briefing from GPA General Manager John Beneventi at a monthly work session on Tuesday. Nestor Lecanto, KUAM News.
Now to a follow-up story we brought you here on Primetime last week. Dededo resident Felina Nauta's family reached out to KUAM after spending nearly 3 months working to get government of Guam leaders to help her turn her lights back on.
Tonight, there's finally now a bright light breaking through her months of darkness after our report the 64-year-old finally getting the help she so desperately needed. Brighter days are finally ahead for this Dededo woman.
So this down that the light.
After enduring 3 months without power since Typhoon Mawar, Felina Nauta finally has her lights at
I feel better than before.
It's a sigh of relief and a triumphant outcome for her and her stepson, Rain Nauta, following an arduous battle with the Chamorro Land Trust Commission for assistance. The Nautas waiting for 90 days for a letter of authorization for utilities from the CLTC. The authorization letter was needed in order for the Guam Power Authority to reconnect her electricity. It's a much longer wait than what CLTC Executive Director Alice Tyron told KUAM last Thursday would typically only take a week. And after KUAM directly brought the issue to her attention, Tyron making good on her word that she would look at their case as soon as possible.
The administrator and director for the CLTC, after you had her interview, I received a call that same day from Ms. Jessica Day. She identified her as one of the agents from the CLTC and notified me that letter of authorization for the utilities would be completed, and she assured me that it would be done within that day or by the end of that day. And true to her word, I got the letter right before the end of the day.
But despite hearing back from the Lieutenant Governor's office and Dededo Mayor Melissa Savarez, Ray says he's disappointed in government agencies and their slow-moving responses to the island people they vow to serve.
it shed some light into, no pun intended, but it shed some light into the system as far as how the government agencies work there. It's really slow moving and bad, especially when I'd say, the people of Guam depends on that government agency to do their job in order to get things done.
An issue that Nauta hopes will remain under the spotlight to enact real change, not just for his family, but for everyone on the island.
There's people on the island that have actually sent messages and says, hey, I've had similar situations of that, even worse than what we have. And it's kind of sad to actually read those stories and notice that they were even worse off than we were. And it's just, it's heartbreaking to hear that, or actually to read that. And I wish the governor and the lieutenant governor and the agencies that fall under them listens to the people of the island.
Leaders now trying to do better in this particular case. Personnel from the Dededo Mayor's office clearing hazardous trees from the Nauta residents. And while Felina says she still needs help in getting her roof repaired from the storm, she is grateful for the outpouring of support from all who stepped in to get the lights back on at the place she's called home for so long.
Thanks for everyone helping.
Well, the CNMI Department of Public Safety held its first in a series of community town halls to hear directly from residents about their safety concerns in some of Saipan's most populated villages.
As regional correspondent Tomas Manglotnio reports, tourists, locals, school officials, and business owners are frustrated with crime in Garapan.
The NMI Department of Public Safety held its first town hall meeting Friday evening in Garapan, kicking off a series of community meetings in an effort to create safer villages on Saipan.
We have to ensure that we create a safe environment for everyone. And the safer the environment, the more likely people are to come out. The more likely people are to revisit us. And that helps also with word-of-mouth marketing across the world.
Garapan, Saipan's tourist district, is home to various restaurants, bars, hotels, cafes, shops, stores, and even a school. It's one of Saipan's most populated villages. That's why the local police restarted their bike patrols in the area and ramped up their enforcement efforts. After 90 days, they'll reevaluate the program and see if it can be implemented in other villages.
As we see tourist arrivals begin to pick up steadily, we are receiving reports from tourists, informing us that police presence is needed in certain areas, and so Garapan, being the main tourist district for this Commonwealth, is our focal point, and we want to thank the Commissioner and his team for reopening the Garapan substation, if you will.
Local authorities say they receive 2 to 5 reports of burglaries, vandalism, and theft every day. Help could not come soon enough for some longtime business owners who are fed up with crime on island.
These people who vandalizes or who robs the tourists, there has to be a stringent penalty. So you have to work with the governor and to work with the legislature and our lawmakers, and there has to be a stringent big penalties. I'm talking about not a slap in the face, mandatory 2-year, 3-year, 4-year in the jail time, on top of the cash penalties.
One resident says those penalties should extend to those who trash the streets. She hopes that the litter control program can be implemented in Garapan too.
Litter is also a very key thing that we need to keep in mind when we invite our tourists. And it's a small community that we have, and the small islands that we have, that we really need to cherish it and keep it clean.
And with the start of the school year already here, one school official is calling for help so that kids can get to school safely.
One of our concerns is we don't have a crosswalk at our entrance where we have students walking in. Parents would cross the street and walk their child, or their child walks alone. We do have a staff member out every morning, putting up a stop sign. But again, we'd really like to request for a crosswalk at the entrance. We did reach out to DPW, but we haven't gotten any response on that.
CNMI DPS says they will invite more stakeholders and lawmakers in the upcoming town halls as they evaluate their response to crime on island.
So we want to make sure that we can clean up, light up, and attract other people to come in and probably do more business in the area.
Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
How accessible are public buildings for people with disabilities? The concern brought up during a recent Mayor's Council special meeting.
Guest speaker and accessible van transportation services owner Ben Servino telling leaders their offices are falling short. Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
It's very interesting when you go out to the community and you see all these challenges for people in wheelchairs.
That's accessible van transportation services owner Ben Servino going before village mayors during their special meeting held recently. Servino raising concerns that the government of Guam is falling short in protecting accessibility rights for people with disabilities.
I highly recommend that all you mayors get on a wheelchair and go to your offices. Go out in the community and just experience how difficult it is. Once you experience that, then you really know how difficult it is for others.
He says the mayor's offices are one of those public buildings difficult to access for people with mobility impairments. Servino finding them non-compliant with the American Disabilities Act, a civil rights law that protects people with disabilities from discrimination.
I'm finding that a lot of places I go to mayor's offices, the location and the surface of the parking stall is not in compliance. They're too far from the entrance of the door. It must be closest to the door entrance. I've gone to all the mayor's offices. The parking signage are all faded. You need to replace it because they can't even read it.
He also points out bumps in the access aisle, slippery walkways, and ramps not in compliance could cause injury.
The wheelchair user will flip over. There's leaks on the floors there in the pipe. They can injure themselves. Of course, I'm from Deditu. I got to have my mayor know that, again, that's her parking lot. Yeah, it's a sloping. Yeah, Gura built it. Again, government, they don't comply. They don't monitor that.
The lack of enforcement making him voice his concerns to the Department of Public Works, but proving unsuccessful.
Public Works should be going around monitoring. I went there yesterday and I complained to them. And they said, hey, if you see anything, just, let us know. And they said, we don't have the manpower to go inspect everywhere.
Now he's hoping community leaders take note.
If you're going to sponsor and host an event, make sure it's accessible. Even this facility, I recommend you get out of this facility and get another more accessible facility.
Servino finding even the building where the Mayor's Council of Guam holds their monthly meeting has barriers.
It's not accessible. So, please don't be offended. I'm just trying to educate you about the challenges I have to face. I'm not even in a wheelchair. But can you imagine a person in a wheelchair trying to get in here?
Mayor Melissa Savares promising changes will be made moving forward, especially as village leaders rebuild after the storm.
And most of us are having a little renovation and construction going on. So those are things that you need to we should keep in mind when we're doing that.
Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
We'll have more news in a moment.
Keep it here to KUAM, your leader in local news.
Hello, welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order, please? The McNuggets of chicken.
I haven't had a Big Mac in a long time.
How many Filet-O-Fishes did you eat? That's over several months, Ryan.
Quiero McFlurry. In Puerto Rico, a McFlurry, it's called a Señor Flurry.
2 golden menus.
Wonderful crew at McDonald's.
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 They're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's.
Are you gonna order something?
The wait is over, Guam. The all-new state-of-the-art car wash is now open at Cars Plus. Introducing Finish Line Express, open 7 days a week. The all-new cashless drive-through car wash is also the largest car wash on island that can accommodate vehicles such as lifted Jeeps and full-size pickup trucks. Just roll up, Wash, insert credit card or show your EverWash app and roll through. Plus, power vacuums are available to clean the interior. Show your vehicle some love today at the all-new car wash at Cars Plus and Mighty. Open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Do it big. With the Pizza Hut Big Dinner Box, however you want a dinner, we got you covered. Big time. I do it big. The Big Dinner Box. 2 pizzas, breadsticks, and wings or pasta. Oh, hello.
Welcome back to Primetime. President Biden will visit Maui in the wake of those devastating wildfires.
The trip does not come without some criticism, not only from Republicans, but some residents. Miguel Almaguer is on the ground in Maui.
Tonight, as recovery teams here in Lahaina nearly complete their grim search for the missing, for some, grief is turning to anger amid this mountain of loss.
I cannot do anything. We never saved nothing. Nothing at all.
Bracing for a death toll still expected to rise, at least 2,200 buildings are gone, most of them homes. The president expected in Maui tomorrow, but not welcomed by all.
We don't need you. Don't come here.
Facing criticism for what some call a tepid response in the days after the fires.
Mr. President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
White House staff says the president has been working behind the scenes to provide support and relief to those most in need.
I was in complete communication with him throughout this event, helping him understand what I was seeing. And
FEMA offering meals, housing, and an initial $700 payment to survivors who say it's not nearly enough to start rebuilding their homes and lives.
Stay out of our way. Get rid of the red tape.
Planning to meet with victims and response teams, the president's visit comes 3 days after Maui's top emergency management official resigned, when Herman Andaya stood by his decision to not sound emergency sirens that often indicate a tsunami. Local leaders, including the governor, appeared to stand by his side. But today he offered this suddenly stark rebuke.
Do I wish those sirens went off? Of course I do.
Tonight in Maui, the demand for accountability, the plea for presidential help, and the endless sea of heartbreak.
With 85%, the majority of the burn zone searched, the fatality count stands at 114, with over 1,000 unaccounted for.
Well, the Maui community is reeling from the devastation and destruction of that deadly fire that claimed and altered the lives of many. It's a tragedy felt deeply for our island brethren here, almost 3,000 miles away.
The folks over at the venue in Hagania putting on a benefit called Music for Maui last night, an evening of music, togetherness, and support. Local acts lending their voices to help raise funds to donate to the Maui Food Bank. Here's venue owner Phil Roberto.
Even in our hard times, we still find a way to give. And music always brings people together, of course. And having done the experience with the fundraisers for Saipan, we incorporated musicians and bands. You know, it was nice to pick up the phone and call, you know, certain musicians and say, hey, we're trying to put this together. Can you play one set? And, you know, there's an absolute yes, I want to be a part of this. There were even musicians who weren't performing last night who came and showed up. And, you know, there'll be a next one. Like I said, the need in Maui is going to take more than a week or a month. It's going to take years, really. But we can give as much as we can.
The event raising $3,000, of which 100% will go to the Maui Food Bank. The venue is set to host another Music for Maui benefit on September 17th, an effort to reach a goal to raise $10,000 to benefit those impacted by the fire.
Southern California is experiencing widespread flooding as Tropical Storm Hilary spins across the region.
With many family and friends in that area, our Jonah Gincharfresh checks in with how one former Guam resident got storm ready.
Maximum sustained winds have hovered around 60 miles per hour, knocking down trees and causing power outages. Flash flood warnings have been posted, as the National Weather Service says rain is falling up to 1.5 inches per hour. Many roads have been closed, and officials warn drivers not to drive around barricades. Former Guam resident Sean Pangilinan, who resides in San Diego, said that Tropical Storm Hillary arrived on time as expected.
As of right now, we're getting the harshest part of it, and I don't think we actually have received the hurricane. We're definitely getting a tail bit. It's nowhere near as expected. Initially, when we started getting information about what Hurricane Hillary would be projected to do.
Pangilinan, who went through his fair share of typhoons when he was younger, said it was those memories that helped him prepare his home and his family.
Growing up on Guam and experiencing, the super typhoons and the earthquakes definitely helped me get ready for this this potential hurricane that we're kind of going through right now. But anytime I hear something that's going to have like about potential of 100 miles per hour of winds coming through, I immediately think back to Pasamoa and Paka, and I know exactly how powerful Mother Nature is.
Along with securing loose items outside, he filled up sandbags to surround the home, as some areas are bracing for up to 5 inches of rain.
Power outages were going to be expected. Water issues were going to be expected. So I already knew that we just had to prepare for food, make sure we had at least 2 to 3 weeks supply of food, access to water, and energy, such as like propane tanks and butane, to make sure that we can boil the water.
With this being the first hurricane for his 3 boys, he said both he and his wife spoke to them of what could possibly happen.
We were being very honest with them, letting them know that there was a storm coming through. Talked about potential evacuation, what we'd have to do. We prepare little go bags with their clothes, with their favorite toys, and food, just in case we had to get out of here, in case there was a flood issue or a fire issue. And so, especially with the recent disasters that happened in Maui and also in Guam, we've let them know that, Mother Nature is very powerful, and you can't mess around with it.
And California officials warn the worst is yet to come, as the impact from Hillary is expected to last another 24 hours as the storm heads for Nevada. Jonah Gincharfresh, KUAM News.
More help is on the way for those impacted by Typhoon Maui 3 months back. The Guam Homeland Security announcing a new project called Guam Strong. The efforts include the Mayor's Council and FEMA to help households in need of minimal essential repairs to make their homes safe, sanitary, and functional. Officials say participants have been pre-selected through a review process based on what they call a pre-identified need, prioritizing the elderly, veterans, and those with access and functional needs.
There is no application process, and those chosen will be contacted directly about their participation in the program. The aim is to restore disaster-damaged homes to habitable condition in a cost-effective manner, so households have shelter until more permanent repairs can be made. Guam Strong is expected to cover up to $10,000 to help those selected with basic carpentry, electrical, and plumbing repairs, in addition to roofing. 125 homes are projected to be completed by November 25th of this year, based on the level of support committed by the volunteer agencies. A new shower at Matapang Beach, or money for new hires at the Ethics Commission. That's a choice that came up at today's budget session, because if you want to spend new money at one agency, it has to come from another. Speaker Teresa Lahi proposing taking about $126,000 from the Ethics Commission to pay for a second shower at Matapang, but Vice Speaker Tina Munya Barnes argued against it.
I go there quite often. The lines to shower on the weekends are silly. EPAL at least has 3 showers, and and they're all functioning. I think it works very nicely. But for that beach, Matapang, being so crowded, I hate to use this word publicly, but it's gross. It's super gross.
So really, before we take money away from them, even knowing that this term they may have had this budget, they have an increase, I want to make sure that we're not taking from Peter to pay Paul to do what's right when we ourselves created the Ethics Commission for a specific purpose.
The Terlahi Amendment for a new shower stall at Matapang Beach Park passed.
As public schools get ready to open this week, the Superintendent of Education, Dr. Kenneth Swanson, today stating it takes all of us and our local government agencies, from the legislature to the governor's office to local mayors, the Guam Department of Education staff and faculty, parent volunteer groups, military units, and private community supporters to make it possible for our GDOE schools to reopen.
Swanson noting the widespread damage of Typhoon Mawar on top of the pre-existing maintenance needs of each of our school campuses requires a coordinated response from officials at all levels of government here on our island. We are blessed to have had the legislature's support to the allocated $20 million for GDOE to fund massive recovery needs that continue. Accessing those dollars through the usual procurement channels that GDOE has is very time-consuming, and responding to storm damage as well as legislative mandates to correct years of deferred maintenance have been and continue to be the highest priority to open schools this week.
He adds, though causing concern at first, the diversion of the $20 million through the governor's administration, GDOE has been able to accelerate the procurement process using Department of Administration resources through the DLAN system to solicit and execute multiple contracts using portions of the allocated dollars, with several $1 million in contracts for important support, including mold abatement, air conditioning repair and replacement, sewer line replacements, ceiling and floor tile replacement, and several more high cost and important projects slated against the $20 million.
Swanson concluding the concerns shown by the senators that the allocated funds might not benefit students in schools resulted in a proposed budget amendment forcing the returning of the funds to GDOE. While well intended to preserve the purpose of the allocation itself, recalling those funds would stop the procurement process that began in early June and force GDOE to restart the process and accompanying legal reviews setting the timetable back months, rather than providing much needed health and safety repairs that are just beginning and are much needed across all schools. The response from the Guam Department of Education superintendent comes after a meeting held at Adelup.
It now has Education Oversight Chair Senator Chris Barnett puzzled. Barnett stating the release appears to be a complete 180-degree turn from your leadership and your many comments on the official legislative record relative to GDOE's desire to have the $20 million appropriated by senators to the department returned to them. As you may recall, the senator says former acting superintendent Judy Wonpat helped the recall of the $20 million prior to your arrival and to aid with Typhoon Mawar recovery efforts. You have expressed to senators your displeasure with the reprogramming of education funds for storm recovery efforts for the whole of Guam, and that displeasure was reiterated by you several times on both the legislative floor and in media interviews.
Barnett adding to Swanson, you expressed your frustration with the lack of movement on GDOE's multiple requests through the Guam Homeland Security DLAN program. In updates provided by you and your staff, it was said that the bulk of GDOE's requests for help were flat out denied or at a standstill. It is worthy to note that the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, in report submissions to the legislature, has spent just $5.9 million in Mawar recovery. Your release states that you are now pleased with the progress of GDOE DLAN requests being accelerated. However, at the same time, you are asking the legislature to undo its efforts to return the $20 million because it would force GDOE to restart the process and set the timetable back months, when all the evidence shows that the process is still at the starting point and it has already taken months to get here. This is quite contradictory.
Well, the Peruvian Navy training tall ship BAP Union departed Saturday afternoon, but not before receiving a blessing in Chamorro and Spanish from Father Eric Forbes aboard the ship. Also, over 30 of the crew and midshipmen spent much of their Friday morning at Marshall Sablan Elementary School in Hagat, getting the campus ready for the first day of classes scheduled for August 23rd. The men and women clearing vegetation and painting the exteriors of the school.
The BAP Union docked at Naval Base Guam last Wednesday. While here on island, the 247 crew and 97 midshipmen spent their time touring Guam, enjoying the sights and sounds, getting in rest and relaxation, and volunteering their time in the community.
The Northern Marianas Technical Institute is hosting the CNMI's first annual safety conference, putting workplace safety at the top of everyone's agenda.
Regional correspondent Tomas Manguania reports.
Alliance agreement inked between the Northern Marianas Technical Institute and CNMI Department of Labor OSHA On-Site Consultation Division marks a renewed partnership for a safer workplace.
We truly believe that we're going to be leveraging each other's perspectives on how we handle culture, safety culture in any workplace. Our influence in the community can totally help raise the awareness to educate all our workers so that everybody gets home safely at the end of the day.
It's the CNMI's first annual safety conference on Saipan. The two-day conference will cover trenching and excavation, OSHA record-keeping, construction safety, machine guarding, full protection, and general industry safety.
Majority of the workers in CNMI are not from the U.S., and being a U.S. territory, we must adhere to U.S. federal regulations. So in the field, a lot of things that we see they're not doing it on purpose. It's because they are unaware. Yeah, they're unaware and not educated on what the correct actions are to do.
We all know that having a safer work environment ensures fair treatment and increases retention, especially for a very hard-to-fill workforce. For employers, following OSHA standards will lead to greater productivity and financial benefits because everyone knows that it's very hard to find qualified and skilled workforces right now. And investing in safety in your workforce is a priceless return on investment that every employer should consider.
It's those lessons that organizers hope industry professionals not only bring home, but to the job site. The training is in partnership with the UC San Diego's OSHA Training Institute Education Center.
And if we look at the focus 4 areas where we have fatalities, getting caught by and pinched by machinery and not properly locking it out and those type of things. Very, very serious.
Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
No matter what sector you're in, private, GovGuam, or federal, we all have a special place in our hearts for our human resources team. And the role of these critical components of any organization has expanded greatly in just the last 4 years, making them even more valuable.
The annual conference of our HR community was held and Jason Solis was there and brings you a recap of a big day of innovation, progress, and organizational success.
Nearly 400 members of our island's human resources community descended upon Tumon Bay at the Dusitani Resort, Guam for the annual conference of the local chapter of the Society for Human Resource Management. This year's forum doesn't just impact HR managers, but executives, line managers, and the operational workforce overall.
We're sold out. It's a record year. Last year we had 300. We're closing in on 4. So we're really excited about that.
Yoli Padronis is SHRM's current president and talked about the importance of spreading the most powerful asset an organization can have, shared knowledge.
Our theme is HR United, taking HR to new heights. And when you take HR to new heights, that translates into elevating your business. So all of the stakeholders, from business managers, anyone that leads a person should come to this event.
Topics included dealing with employee grief, human trafficking in the workplace, the rights and responsibilities of organization and staffer if an employee should be arrested, and emerging issues in leadership.
It's very important because over the last few years, we've seen HR have to step up to the plate in how do we deal with the pandemic, how do we deal with typhoon, how do we deal with the ever-changing workplace environment, the work pool. And so it's always great to bring everyone together.
Attorney Vince Camacho is SHRM's incoming president and said the discussions are tough but essential to achieving efficiency across industries and sectors.
We can strategize, provide information, and bring the regulators to them and allow them to ask questions from the regulators as what they're looking for, what enforcement issues are important, so that they can bring those back to the workplace and adjust their policies accordingly.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured from the mouth of the channel at the Agania Boat Basin.
This view plus much more music streaming now on Isla Digital Radio.
New chicken nuggets from KFC?
Everybody's gonna want these. Let's eat these inside.
Try new Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. You've never had nuggets like these.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Typhoon Mawar debris cleanup is underway by FEMA and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Stage and sort eligible typhoon debris, including green waste, large appliances, residential construction, demolition debris, and metals as soon as possible at the residence. Ineligible debris will be left on site and may result in illegal dumping fines. For updated information by village, visit tinyurl.com/cleanupgu. This ad is paid for by the Office of the Governor of Guam.
Today is an amazing day because I have Dave Martinez and Maria Leon Guerrero from Raising Cane's and the Foundation for Public Education, respectively. Let's start with Dave. We worked with you on this wonderful project, Dave, to raise money for Guam's public school children. $900 is being donated on behalf of Raising Cane's. Thank you so much, this wonderful donation of school supplies.
Basically, we were able to fundraise around $400, and that's added on to a $500 donation given by Raising Cane's to KUAM and the Care for Supply Drive. So that's where we got the solid amount.
Okay, and not one, not two, not three, but 4 boxes full. In the Raising Cane's red brick, right? 4 boxes of school supplies that are going to go help kids when they go back to school on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So Maria, how does the foundation actually use this? Because kids need so many things, teachers need so many things. The need is so present, but you guys actually make the best use of it.
We try to, yes. So one of the programs that we have that has been really popular is our Teacher Wish List Fund, and basically what that is it's an opportunity to apply for mini grants of about $500 where teachers can use the money to basically enhance their classroom experience. It's a competitive process where we take in applications and then we go through and choose the best ones. And this is really one of the most effective ways to help the kids because it puts the money directly into the hands of the teachers. The truth is they would have spent the money anyways out of pocket. So it's a nice way to support them and support excellence in teaching. And that's, I think, the best way to put this money to work.
All right, well guys, T-minus 2 days to go until public school gets back to school, and you guys are sending our kids back right, and you guys are getting teachers prepared to educate them the right way. So thank you, Raising Cane's. Thank you, Foundation for Public Education. Viva!
Viva!
Thank you. All right, shout out Raising Cane's. What's up? All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you. What's in the sauce? Because Dave won't tell me.
Secret.
Oh, man. Your work week weather forecast comes to you each and every Monday, as does Landon Idlet from, I can tell you're back on Guam now because you've got the coolest office in the world. And the thing I really appreciate you, Landon, first of all, welcome to the show as always. I'm glad to have you here. You keep trinkets and keepsakes from everywhere you travel. I mean, most people just decorate, like their luggage or, they're happy with their passport and everything like that. You actually, have quite the collection of things of the culture and the history of the places you visited, and you've been to a lot of different places.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I like to hopefully make this office space an archive of places that I've traveled to do work, especially in the region. And so every time I travel somewhere, I want to bring something back. And so oftentimes there's a number of things that I want to carry back with me, but I try to limit to 1 per trip. And of course, let me turn my screen around right quickly. You see what I've got. I got this from Palau last week, a nice storyboard. And of course, my favorite piece, the turtle from Pompeii. So on the back of these things, I'll put a date and a month of when and where I traveled to get this item, just so I can look back through my career over the years and see where everything came from. And so hopefully in a couple of years, I'll have a whole lot more to show people. I'm trying to get my gimbal just right. The motor is still malfunctioning there.
And I can appreciate that, and I can even empathize because my dad was the exact same way. And he was like, he goes, you need to know you want to take a look at my resume and everything. This is my resume. Look at all the places I've been able to be, all the people that I've been able to meet, and and the people that have affected me. And that is absolutely. That is kind of the thing, because when it comes to weather, you have given us so much information, but you also take a very global approach. And national weather is kind of weird these days, specifically to our friends on the left coast, because there's a hurricane in California.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that was clickbait. When I saw it over the weekend, I was like, nah, this is just the Onion being like silly again. But that is, it's been downgraded since, but that is a thing, right?
That's correct. That is definitely a thing. And of course, you're looking at the National Radar Composite from the National Weather Service. But that is moisture from what was Hurricane Hillary. It's been downgraded to tropical storm, but it's definitely having its impacts across the southwestern coast of the United States. And there's been a lot of significant talk around the global news media. When has this ever happened? When was the last time they had significant impacts from a tropical cyclone in California? And you have to go way, way, way back to September of 2022. Was the last time they had impacts from a tropical cyclone. That was I believe it was Hurricane K that had impacts off the Baja Peninsula. Did not make landfall into California. Yeah, just a year ago. Did not make landfall into California, but it did have significant impacts across many of the southwestern states like Arizona and California, where it dropped anywhere upwards of 3 inches of rain in some of the desert areas. And keep in mind, 3 inches of rain is significant when it comes to a yearly amount of rainfall in some of these desert areas. So they got basically a year's worth of rain in a matter of hours.
The wait is over, Guam. The all-new state-of-the-art car wash is now open at Cars Plus. Introducing Finish Line Express, open 7 days a week. The all-new cashless drive-through car wash is also the largest car wash on island that can accommodate vehicles such as lifted Jeeps and full-size pickup trucks. Just roll up, pick a wash, insert credit card, or show your EverWash app and roll through. Plus, power vacuums are available to clean the interior. Show your vehicle some love today at the all-new car wash at Cars Plus in Maui. Open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week.
New chicken nuggets from KFC?
Everybody's gonna want these. Let's eat these inside.
Try new Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. You've never had nuggets like these.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Let's see what's happening now around town.
Here's your News Bites with Jason Salas.
All right, everybody, a big phrase we want you to get familiar with. Clear the shelters. Verb, article, noun, right? Clear, the operative word. We just don't want to take care of the shelters. We don't want to clean the shelters. We want to clear the shelters. There are lots and lots of dogs that are in need of our help, and that's what we are doing all month long with our friends at Guam Animals in Need. That's the Jigo Animal Shelter. You know the place. And we are trying to help them make sure that we clear the shelters. Please make sure to head up there this Saturday. There was going to be a adoption event with food concessions, vendors, and raffles. 10 to 3. We'll be there, and we hope to see you there too. Be Heartfelt is a wonderful organization, and they are continuing their very fine work by hosting a sanitary pad drive from the 22nd to the 26th. The nonprofit organization, key point, is seeking donations of new or packaged sanitary pads. They'll be distributed to Guam's public schools, and you can drop off donations to the Guam Girl Scouts office in Tamuning. Now, if you happen to be up in Tinian, the International Coastal Cleanup is taking place on September the 15th to our neighbors to the north. Form your crew, register, and clean up. Again, really, really easy to do. 3, get your crew together, register, and then clean up. It's as simple as that. For more information, you can make sure to use those links that are on the site right there, the poster, I should say. And wonderful things going on in the region. That is what we do here at News Bites. That is our mission. Once again, mission accomplished. We're batting 1,000, right? Well, our batting average is higher than Babe Ruth. What can I say? And you guys are an awesome audience because you guys participated. You know who also is awesome? Nick and Destiny, and we go back to you guys.
It's birthday wishes time.
Here's your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts submitted on KUAM.com.
Happy birthday on the 21st of August to Mason, who celebrates birthday number 23. Happy 23rd, Mason. Your family and all your friends say we love you, and we hope you have a great day. 23 is a great birthday. Rebecca Ann, happy birthday to our beautiful and lovely sister. Love forever and always, your sissies and your bros. That's a lot of love right there. We hope you have a good one. Doris Santos, happy birthday to my darling daughter and love you very much. This is a very, very proud mom. And happy birthday to Ariel Jem Gumatao, star mom to Caleb J, and just the best overall daughter, sister, cousin, Mali, niece, friend we could all have. Whew, that literally is your shout out, and it's an awesome one. And all your friends and a very, very proud family say they love you. And also, Byron Cruz celebrates happy birthday number 8 today. We hope you enjoy your special day and get all the presents you wished for this year. Yes, I hope so too. And your family says we love you so very much.
Happy birthday, baby Byron. That's my godson there.
Yay,
Gotta love him. Can't believe he's already 8.
God.
Oh, happy birthday. See you at dinner. That's your primetime show. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Stay beautiful and good night.